Hello and welcome to Legally Speaking with me, Tarun Nangia. Today we are dealing with a subject which all the promoters and the legal heads of companies ought to know. This is how can companies be prosecuted under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act for environmental violations. This is what it makes it more interesting because the courts are also now telling the Enforcement Directorate that why haven't they done enough prosecutions under the for environmental violations. We have an expert on this subject today joining us. He is Mr. Karnal Singh. He is managing partner of law firm Circle of Counsels who do a lot of work in this area. Good to see you, sir, and thank you for your time.
See, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it talks about the proceeds of crime and how those proceeds of crime are laundered. So, proceeds of crime are coming out of the offences. Which offences? They have been given under the schedule of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. There are three schedules, Schedule A, Schedule B and Schedule C. Now, they have different acts, around 30 acts. And out of those 30 acts, there are 160 sections. If any offence is done in that, then Prevention of Money Laundering Act comes into play. Now, if we talk of environmental laws, there are three laws which have been included under Schedule A of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. There are paragraph 25, where offences under Environmental Protection Acts are there. Then paragraph 26, where offences under the Water Prevention and Control of Pollutants Act 1974 is there. And third is paragraph 27, where offences under the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Acts are there. Now, if we talk of the Environmental Protection Act, then there are two sections given here, section 7 and section 8. Whose punishment is given in section 15 of the Environmental Protection Act. Now, section 7 deals with penalty for discharging environmental pollutants, etc. in excess of prescribed standards.
Okay.
So, if somebody have any environmental pollutants, whether in the river, whether in the air, it comes under the Environment Protection Act. Section 8 deals with the penalty for handling hazardous substance. If we come to the Water Prevention and Control of Pollutant Act, there are two sections. Section 41 Part 2, penalty for pollution of stream or well.
Okay.
It's a clear cut. If somebody does pollute the stream or any well.
This is different from river.
It is including river.
Including river.
Stream is included in the river.
Okay.
And then section 43, where a penalty for contravention of provisions of section 24. Again, that is about the pollutants, where the directions are given in advance. If some company is going to come, some industry is going to come, which can pollute, so the directions can be issued before that also, that you should not install your factory here without providing proper equipments so that pollution doesn't take place. Third is the offences under Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, where section 37 is an offence. Failure to comply with provision of operating industrial plants which create pollutions. So, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act is a very strong act if we talk about the environmental pollutions created by any industry or anybody. Even it talks about if the government servants, if they are given directions by the Pollution Control Board, and if they don't obey the directions of the Pollution Control Board, even that is an offence which is a predicate offence under Prevention of Money Laundering Act.
Achha, I want to know something from you. Two things I want to know from you. Somebody started a plant in the year 2010 and without treating the effluent of the plant, it is going in the river. So for 15 years, plant is operating happily, profits are coming in the company, and today is 24. All these years, there was no action against him. Now today, can he be prosecuted under PMLA for this violation, and what kind of liabilities will he have if he is to be prosecuted?
See, if there is a predicate offence registered, files in the court, by the concerned agency under any of these three acts.
And which are these concerned agencies?
The central, it's a Pollution Control Board.
That can register?
Yeah, Pollution Control Board or the agencies which have to implement.
Okay.
For example, municipal corporations which have to implement.
Even they can file.
Yeah, even they can go to the court or to the Pollution Control Board for filing of the case.
Then
In that case, since Prevention of Money Laundering Act is a continuous offence,
yes.
therefore the last 15 years, whatever has been a gain to him
Okay.
because of non-installation of the
Sewage treatment plant.
plants for controlling the pollution,
Pollution.
that will be his proceeds of crime.
Okay.
And that proceeds of crime, if used anywhere to grow, for example, suppose that proceeds of crime is put as an investment somewhere.
Okay.
So how this investment has increased, what are the profits coming out of that, even that will be the proceeds of
So
crime.
I want to understand one thing from you. For example, if hypothetically somebody set up a plant in year 2010 for 500 crores and the cost of the sewage treatment plant was 25 crores, which he did not set up. And for 15 years, 14 years now, he is running the plant without an STP. Anyways, all the pollutants from the factory is say going into the Yamuna river, because if the plant is in UP, for example. Now on that 25 crore, would he be, the proceeds of crime would be calculated, because that is the money he is not used for setting up the plant.
See, let me explain you even something more details about the pollution.
Okay.
See, the one concept is pollutants pay.
Polluters pay.
Yeah, that is a basic principle.
Okay.
Now, what does he create? What problems he create? One part is he has not installed something.
Yes.
But what problems he has created? There could be human problems.
Yes.
For example, there is a stream near Badot area.
Okay.
The people of that area are saying that because of the pollutions in the stream, the cancer has increased in that
area. Okay.
Now, what is the cost of that?
Okay, so that cost is also there.
See, one has to understand that it could be the ecological cost. For example, in Agra, the fish are dying because of the pollution.
Yes.
Because of the fish dying, a particular type of insect has come there.
Okay.
Which is causing the deterioration of the walls of Taj Mahal.
Okay.
Now the cost, what we do generally is we are calculating the cost only relating to what he should have invested.
Okay.
But actual cost is more than that.
Okay.
Actual cost is the cost accrued to the people of that area.
Okay.
Cost accrued to because of the flora and fauna of that area. Cost accrued to because of the ecological imbalance is created by pollution.
Okay.
So the cost is much more. But generally the calculation of cost is done only on the basis of what an industrialist should have invested.
Okay.
So that to have the sewage treatment plant, so that pollutants are not going into the stream.
I want to understand one thing from you. You mentioned. You saying something?
I reply to your question. Suppose he is a 500 crore factory.
Okay.
Where 50 crore you said is to
25 crore.
25 crore he has to invest in the equipment or the sewage control plant. Then there would be the maintenance cost each year.
Yes.
That is saves.
Yes.
25 crore plus maintenance cost, and what is its present value now?
Okay.
Would be more than 25 crores,
Yes.
and maybe 50 crores.
Yes.
Now this 50 crore, if he had invested somewhere,
Yes.
suppose he has put this money which he has not invested here as an equity in his firm.
Okay.
Then whatever is the profit, 500, the 25 crore out of 500 will be the proportion of the additional proceeds of crime.
Okay.
Even that would be counted.
Okay.
So that is how the proceeds of crime can be counted.
Okay.
But that is not complete.
Okay.
If you want to get the complete proceeds of crime, one has to go through the ecological impact, human impact, the impact on flora and fauna caused because of these industries, and that could be far more than what we are expecting to the cost to be.
Yeah, because what you say makes sense to us, because we read news, international news, in which fines on factories go in thousands of crores for environmental pollution. So I think it's a very, even for spilling oil in the seas, the fines are very, very heavy. I want to know from you, you read out 3-4 provisions in the PMLA Can you in detail, in about one minute each, explain each of them so that we better know the kind of prosecution that can be done in PMLA for environmental violation?
If we take first act, offences under the Environmental Protection Act,
Okay.
1986.
Okay.
So there are two sections,
Okay.
Section 7 and Section 8.
Okay.
Now, if we talk of Section 7 and Section 8,
Okay.
Section 7 talks of persons carrying on industry,
Okay.
operations, etc., not to allow emission or discharge of environmental pollutants in excess of the standards. So there are certain standards.
Okay.
If he does anything which discharges or emits beyond that standards, then he comes up within the purview of Section 7
Of the PMLA.
of the PMLA.
Okay.
Sorry, this Section 7 of the Environmental Protection Act.
Okay.
And Section 7 of Environmental Protection Act is a schedule offence for PMLA.
Okay. So the
PMLA will come into play.
So ED will take over the investigation. for
ED
this.
will have the independent investigation.
Okay.
Then Section 8 talks of persons handling hazardous substances to comply with procedural safeguards. If they are not doing
So
procedural
hazardous
safeguards,
substance is some poisonous substance.
yes, poisonous substances, if they are not handling them
Properly.
properly as per the standards laid down,
Even that can attract.
even that can attract.
Very interesting.
That is Environmental Protection Act.
Okay.
Now, if we talk of the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974,
Okay.
there are two sections,
Okay.
Section 41 Part 2
Okay.
and Section 43.
Okay.
Now, if we take Section 41 Part 2 talks of penalty for pollution of stream or well,
Okay.
and Section 43 talks of penalty for contravention of provisions of Section 24.
Okay.
Now, if we see the Section 24, it says no person shall knowingly cause or permit any poisonous, noxious or polluting matter determined in accordance with such standards as may be laid down by a state board to enter whether directly or indirectly into any stream or well or sewer or on land.
Stream, well, sewer or land.
Or land.
All four things.
All four things.
Huh.
And it has more
So nothing
portions.
can go out, leave the factory without being treated, basically.
Yes, that's important under Water Pollution Act.
Okay.
Then we come to the Air Pollution Act.
Okay.
Air Pollution Act has one section, Section 37.
Okay.
Failure to comply with the provisions for operating industrial plant.
Okay.
Now this Section 37 says failure to comply with the provisions of Section 21
Okay.
or Section 22 or with directions issued under Section 31A.
Okay.
Now Section 21,
Okay.
if we talk, restrictions on use of certain industrial plants.
Okay.
So, no person shall, without the previous consent of the state board, establish or operate any industrial plant in an air pollution control area. So, if there is an air pollution control area, in that area, no industrial, where the industrial plants are not permitted, they cannot, without the permission of the state government. This is one, Section 21, and then Section 22. Person carrying on industry, etc., not to allow emission of air pollutants in excess of standard laid down by state board.
That also can attract.
That also can attract the PMLA.
So this is emission of smoke, etc. from the factory.
Yes.
Okay.
Then Section 31A.
Okay.
Power to give directions, notwithstanding anything contained in any other law, but subject to the provision of this Act, and to any directions that the central government may give in this behalf, a board may, in the exercise of its powers and performance of its functions under this Act, issue any directions in writing to any person, officer or authority. And such person, officer or authority shall be bound to comply with such directions, which I was talking that the directions can be given to the public bodies also.
Public bodies like?
Like MCD, Municipal Corporation. If they are given directions that you implement and you see that the laws are implemented in your area properly.
So that also is...
Your industrial pollution should not be there in your area. You take steps. Even if they don't obey, the PMLA is attracted against even those officers.
Okay, so even those bodies are liable
Yes.
to be prosecuted.
Yes.
So do you think that now the courts, for example, I'll read out a statement. Recently, the National Green Tribunal levied a fine of 65 crores on the Municipal Corporation of Agra, Mathura, Vrindavan. And in that case, the NGT said that, and I read out from the judgment, in the present case, when environmental norms were not followed, this resulted in commissioning of scheduled offence, and revenue earned by committing such crime is proceeds of crime as defined in Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, and by showing it in accounts amounts to projecting or claiming it as untainted property. The entire activity is covered by Section 3 of PMLA 2002. So here is the court directly saying that environmental violation attracts PMLA 2002?
Absolutely. See, in this case, this is Dr. Sanjay Kulshrestha case,
Okay.
Which is the order has been given by National Green Tribunal. It talks of, first it talks about the environmental degradation. The ecological imbalance is created. And what is the cost to that?
Okay.
Then he says, besides this, these are also attracted under Prevention of Money Laundering Act.
Okay.
And perfectly so.
Okay.
And therefore, the Pollution Control Board, Concerned Pollution Control Board, basically should have filed the prosecution complaint against those industries. Because ED, Enforcement Directorate, can take up those cases when there is a visibility of those cases in the form of prosecution complaint filed by those. As far as I remember, Enforcement Directorate has registered certain cases.
They have.
Under Prevention of Money Laundering Act for these acts relating to pollution control. At that time also the issue came how we will calculate
The proceeds
of crime. And then it was decided that whatever was to be invested, whatever instruments were to be procured, their cost and their maintenance cost would be the proceeds of crime.
Yes.
And whatever their usage is there, that usage, whatever the new thing have accrued, will be the proceeds of crime. So, if I remember correctly, Enforcement Directorate has registered certain cases under these acts.
I want to know from you, with the world over, and consciousness is growing about environmental damage. India also goes to international forums and makes commitment that India will stand for the highest standards of environmental safety or maintaining the environment. Given this background, do you think that in India prosecutions will happen more and more for environmental violations? And then of course the PMLA will be invoked, because once, as you said, if the Pollution Control Agency or the municipal corporation complains, then it is a fallout that the Enforcement Directorate has an opportunity to come in and also calculate what damages are being done.
See, certainly if you have to control the pollution to our streams, to air, because what is happening is they have far-reaching damages.
Yes.
Some of the damages we may not come to know in
Now.
2 years, 3 years, 4 years. The damages maybe after 10 years somebody comes to know.
Okay.
Suppose it can create lung problems.
Okay, that kind.
It can create, I gave an example of cancer, people getting cancers in that area. Of course, no study has been done, but
Yes.
it is observation of the people living in that area.
Yes.
So, what will be the impact of these chemicals which are going into the streams?
Yes.
What is their impact? If we have to control that, and we have to save our environment, and we have to save our people, these environmental protection laws have to be implemented properly. Simultaneously, the industrialists should be careful about themselves, because they should have a social responsibility for safeguarding the population of this country, for safeguarding the flora and fauna of this country. So they should also be careful about that, and they should install the required equipments to
For
control
air
the
and
pollution.
water.
Yes, to control the pollutions.
One thing I want to know from you, many promoters, legal heads of companies may not have an idea that the violation can attract Prevention of Money Laundering Act. After watching you, they may know that they can be. And after the court's comments, now the Supreme Court and the NGT are commenting that why are you not prosecuting such businessmen when there is a provision under PMLA? It's underutilized. Can you suggest what remedial measures businessmen can take to avoid future prosecution under Prevention of Money Laundering Act? I mean, if you were to advise, what is the advice you would give?
See, they should install at the time of beginning of their industry the proper equipments for pollution control. Secondly, If they have not installed till
Yes,
now,
that is, yes.
they should immediately install,
Yes.
so that it will help themselves and it will help the public also.
So are you saying that if somebody has set up a plant in say 2012 and today is 24, he should today install it?
Absolutely, he should do immediately. Because if he does immediately, at least further damage can be controlled.
Okay. And if you can suggest that, is there any way that they be 100% compliant? Will they go through some advisory process? For example, if you were to advise, what kind of advice will you give? Will you give advice on air, water? What is to be done? Are there people who will help them do it? Because this is a new kind of prosecution.
See, if we see the 3 acts which I have mentioned about the environmental protection,
Right.
it is a water pollution protection, or it is air pollution protection act. There are rules framed under them.
Okay.
So they should go through the rules and recommendations
Okay.
and follow them.
Okay.
And if they follow the rules and regulations issued by the government and issued by the pollution control boards,
Okay.
there will be no problems to them.
Okay. If they even now start complying, a lot of problems can be averted.
Yes, absolutely.
Acha, one final question to you today is, why do you think the courts of our country are now talking about this, that why Enforcement Directorate is not doing prosecutions for environment? Do you think the courts are concerned that this is one neglected area by the Enforcement Directorate?
So courts are concerned about the problems created by the pollution in our country and inaction by the agencies,
Okay.
whether it is the implementing agencies or whether it is the prosecuting agencies.
Okay.
And that concern is very, very important, because they are concerned about the public, they are concerned about the environment, and we should all take cue from the orders of the Honorable Supreme Court, the NGT, to implement these laws, so that the future loss to community, to environment, can be minimized or can be eradicated.
Thank you so much today. You discussed with us 3-4 provisions under which promoters, factories can be prosecuted for environmental violations under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. It is true that till date there was not much discussion on this subject, but recent comments by the Supreme Court and the National Green Tribunal have made us aware that ED can prosecute. You also shared with us today that earlier ED has actually done some prosecutions for environment violations. It is likely that they will do so again. In that case, your interview today will be very, very helpful to many promoters, legal heads, to know where all they can be prosecuted. We would request your time again on this subject in a few weeks, as we see that the courts have been consistent in their remarks on environmental pollution. But for this time, we would like to thank you for your time. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So this was Mr. Colonel Singh, Advocate Colonel Singh, sorry, correct myself. He's managing partner of Circle of Councils. He shared with us how promoters, factories can be prosecuted under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act for environmental violations. This is a very interesting topic. We'll back with one more show on this, but that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you.